Our second speaker is John Morse. Great Expectations from the Effective Coaching Pathway, Researching and Presenting. For more than a year now, eminent Toastmaster Wesley Sherwood, who's ill this evening, he has had, with some justification, identified our next speaker, John Morse, as Carrollwood Toastmasters leader of the anti-great movement. What's with this anyway? Isn't Carrollwood Toastmasters a great club with great speakers, great evaluators, and great weekly Toastmaster meetings? Tonight, we'll hear from the leader of the anti-great movement himself. The title of his speech, Great Expectations. Now is the time for each of you to unmute yourselves and help me welcome with a sustained, exuberant, loud, and almost uncontrollable round of ear-piercing, whistling, foot-stomping, and table-pounding applause for distinguished Toastmaster John Morse. Great
Hey!
Expectations!
Go,
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, I confess the word great is a wonderful word. Yes, indeed it is. It means of an extent, quality, or eminence considerably above average, above normal. That is the definition ascribed to it by Webster's New Collegiate Dictionary. The word great is used so often. Just think of, for example, the Great Smoky Mountains. Everybody considers them the Great Smoky Mountains. In fact, the Smoky Mountain National Park is called the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. If you go up the New World Trade Center to the observation deck and look out at that 360-degree panoramic view of New York City, you will undoubtedly say, this is great. This is breathtaking, because it is. Those of us who followed boxing over the last 15 or 20 years know that there is only one boxer who is the great, and that person, of course, is Muhammad Ali. There is no one in second place. He is the greatest boxer of our time. Indeed, today we call Tom Brady the greatest quarterback of all time, the GOAT. We call him the GOAT now. Why do we call him the GOAT? Because he's won 7 Super Bowl championships. He's been named the most valuable player in 5 of those games. That gives him the right to be called great. If you go to the Lincoln Memorial, walk up all those steps and turn to the right, you will see the second inaugural address of Abraham Lincoln etched in marble. With malice toward none and charity for all, we will bind the nation's wounds. What a remarkable thing for the president to, say at the conclusion of the Civil War. This iconic leader, this great president, deserves the title. Winston Churchill, during the darkest hours when London was being bombed day in and day out, delivered a graduation address. What he said was, I say to the members of the graduating class, never give up, never give up, never give up. He turned around and he sat down. What a remarkable speech. It has been told thousands and thousands of times. He is such an iconic leader of Britain. He deserves the name great. So what's wrong with great in Toastmasters? Well, first of all, great begs comparison. When you call the meeting tonight a great meeting, is it great in comparison to last week's meeting? Is it great in comparison to the meeting that we had 6 weeks ago? Is it great compared to a meeting when I last served as Toastmaster? I'm probably the only one who remembers it. Doubtless, it doesn't rise to the occasion of being great. The second reason for avoiding the word great is that it is probably the weakest way to offer a compliment. I say that having read from this edition of Toastmasters magazine, I read the article by Joel Schwartzberg, Make Your Compliments Count. This article was published in April 2020. In fact, this edition is the very last time that Toastmasters published a written edition of Toastmasters magazine. He said the least powerful form of compliment is to use words such as great, very good, or even awesome. He calls them, and he coined the word badjetives. Yes, they're badjetives because they are so general. They don't really tell you anything. How can we change that? Well, we can use words and phrases that mean something. We can use words and phrases like truly well-organized speech, or the speech was delivered seamlessly, or the speech was chock full of hilarious good humor. Or we can say, that speech, in that speech, you really stuck the landing. All of these terms and phrases help the speaker to become better. That leads us to the third reason why we should eliminate great. From 1924 to today, the purpose of Toastmasters has been to become better. To become a better speaker, to become a better evaluator, to become better in responding to table topics. That's why we are here, and I know it works. I know it because I've heard Jim Sims deliver a speech that he loves to deliver about his experience on 9/11. When we were building clubs a few years ago, Jim delivered that speech. I've probably heard it delivered 6 or 7 times. Recently, he delivered it again, and I can say without qualification, that time was better than any other time that he ever delivered it. He got that much better. Great has its place in the world, yes. At Toastmasters, we can do even better than great. We can choose our words that will help us become more effective as speakers, as evaluators, and as leaders. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tom Strauss, our General Evaluator. John Morse, title, Great Expectations. I must say you gave a splendid speech on great expectation. I must admit, I use great too much myself, and I need to use a different word, should I say. But your speech was splendid. I'm trying not to use great. Your speech was splendid. You did an impressive job of providing examples with the badgetive word great. You also did a magnificent job using your vocal variety when you was explaining certain quotes, certain materials in the past. You use hand gestures well to enhance your speech, especially when you were referring to the past. I liked how you pointed to the back and you're talking about a few weeks ago, last week, or even maybe yesterday. You also gave great examples with the Toastmasters magazine in regards to how to use the word great or not use the word great as much, giving you other words to use. I will definitely search for that magazine in the future so I can make sure I come up with some more words to help with my vocabulary to be an effective Toastmaster. Lastly, your speech was well organized. I like how you named your points 1, 2, and 3 to explain your title, Great Expectations. Overall, I believe you. I know you did a great job. Not great, you did an excellent job. I don't have any things you need to improve on because I am a learning evaluator. Back to you, Journey Evaluator.